Hello, Esther. I hope you got to Paris. Well, it seems like you have because I did receive your email. So I hope everything goes wonderfully in Paris and in Burkina Faso. And I just decided to do this as a presentation. One, because I felt like it would be good for me to do something else other than write a paper. And I thought you would appreciate this unconventional way of a presentation or presenting a paper. But first thing I'm addressing two things: my Galeem reflection as well as my reflection of the course. But first, to talk about Galeem, when I first approached the assignment, because you asked us to write something, I was going to tack the paper through the questions that you asked, and I addressed the first one, which I think had to deal with, I guess, how they established their individuality or their style. And I started writing it, and here it is. Galeem establishes its individuality by the way they approach movement. It's how they manipulate space, weight, and time into different layers of textured movement. In my opinion, the result resembles a likeness to a form of heavy Africanist influence with a Eurocentric sensibility. What I mean by this statement is that the concepts are created and articulated through a Eurocentric lens with the addition of the appropriation of African diasporic forms. And after I wrote that, I thought it'd be better for me to continue on like this, like how we talk. That kind of explains where I am right now with my experience in grad school, seeing that there's a lot of appropriation. And my question is, it seems like there's a thin line between appropriation and stealing. And once again, language, and not language of the body, but language of the mind, is being used as a tool to kind of create another type of hierarchy. But I realized that there is a thin line between this stealing and this appropriation. And I feel like it's more so stealing. I think the appropriation is another form of like a term being politically correct. I think appropriation is another form that people can hide behind as they take pieces of the African American and the Africanist experience. And I feel like that is definitely a reflection of the hierarchy within arts, and how I feel that at times, is there a place for indigenous movement? And the fact that we actually have another term for African movement, because when you look at everything, movement comes from the continent, as I'm sure you understand. Like if you are in ballet and talking about, a cambre, it's the release of the torso and the spine, which only happens in our movement. And the thing that is bothering me is that this is, as you know, has been going on for centuries. But it made me think about a couple of quotes that James Baldwin says. And, reading a lot of his stuff has really informed me of how important my purpose is as an artist, as an African American artist, and as an African American gay artist. This first one, this is from Racing Justice and Engendering Power. It's about the Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas situation. It's really good. Hope you can see it. It's Toni Morrison edited. But this quote, I have three of them. They could deal with the Negro as a symbol or a victim, but had no sense of him as a man. And I feel like this quote reflects exactly what I'm talking about, that they're willing to take pieces of us like we are this type of thing, and not necessarily looking at us as other human beings and a culture of richness and intelligence and there's a purpose, there's a reason behind everything that we do. There's a reason why we dance to the music that we dance to, and the movement that complements that music, which is an evolution of African traditional practices. So along with that, there was another quote that I wanted to look at. Trying to see where it is. This is another one. Baldwin put it another way when he said, "Whoever cannot tell himself the truth about his past is trapped in it, is immobilized in the prison of his undiscovered self. This is also true of nations." And I think that also reflects the fear that is behind really submerging yourself into the African American experience or the African experience. Some people feel like it makes them experience white guilt, and I'm like, of course, welcome to what my life is. You actually have some type of oppositional pull in your life, and you have no control over it when you experience the truth of being a full-fledged artist who wants to experience this culture and then implement it into your vision. Whereas, a lot of them just go and, oh, I like this and I like that, and put it into their work. Much like I felt Galeem did. There are a lot of references of popping and voguing and, some elements of social dances like that reflected hip hop movement. But I'm not sure. I think her name is Andrea Miller. I'm not even sure if she addressed that. And no, I didn't stay for the talk back because I was really upset, Andrea Miller. I was really upset because I feel like that's what my academic experience of dance has been. You see people appropriating African American influence, but not necessarily giving it the full credit. I spoke to you about one of the candidates that came. I can't remember her name, but she was talking about this technique called morphing. And when I watched her do it, it looked like she was doing a form of animation, which is a technique of popping. But she didn't say that in her presentation until I asked. And then apparently when she was teaching her class the following day, she addressed it as, oh, it's a form of popping. And this is my issue. I feel that if there's no one staying on top of people about how they're going about their process of appropriation when it comes to our culture, they're going to continue to do what they want and not address the truth of the embodiment of the investigation of the experience, as well as the truth of how bad it was and how bad it still is. There's another quote I wanted to read, and then I'll continue on with my Galeem review. According to Baldwin, white Americans do not know what to do with a black who falls outside of their expectations. This is Baldwin's quote. If he breaks our sociological and sentimental image of him, we are panic-stricken and we feel ourselves betrayed. When he violates this image, therefore, he stands in the greatest danger, in parentheses, sensing which we uneasily suspect that he is very often playing a part for our benefit, out of parentheses. And what is not always so apparent, but is equally true, we are then in some danger ourselves, hence our retreat or our blind and immediate retaliation. And I think that this reflects also what I've experienced kind of in the department is that, and I've talked to you about this, feeling like I've been put into this box of being the hip hop dancer and that's all that I do. And really doing my due diligence to build myself as a triple threat and expanding my work into the theater department or the vocal department, which I feel has enriched me as a dancer and how I present the work that I want to do. And I just I just feel that it's this unspoken type of ignorance that people hide behind their intelligence in academia to not notice the truth. And when somebody like myself or Reese creates something outside of what their expectations are of us, they don't know what to do. And it does, freak them out a little bit because they felt like they had us in a box already. So I feel like that's what I was experiencing with Galeem when I was watching their performance. Not to put the movement down, but I just felt like raped once again because I know that they didn't go and take hip hop class, or they didn't go and take African class, or they didn't go and take a popping class to then deviate from the actual technique of the structure of popping to create these forms or these exercises like the wind in the plastic bag. Because what you're doing is developing a way of waving or a way of ticking. It's addressing the movement and playing with the quality of it. But you're basically mimicking popping or a style of popping. And needless to say, I enjoyed the ballet class that I took from one of the members. It was great. The class that I think his name is Dustin, that he came and taught, I thought that was great as well, because it made me think outside of my box of normally how I would approach movement or how I would generate movement. So that was great. But I just feel like, don't back down on the value of us, of the African American influence or the Africanist influence. Don't deny that. And I feel that a lot of Caucasian artists do that. They rely on their privilege to be able to say, oh, I'm going to choose to take this and mix it in with my stuff. And the way that they mix it in tells the story that they did not necessarily do their due diligence. They just put something in because, that's the thing to do. So it just reaffirmed my responsibility as an artist to continue to research and continue to make those parallels between these Eurocentric forms and the African influence within those Eurocentric forms, because no one else is going to do that, which I see in academia. And this responsibility, this sense of responsibility, is also what is going to carry me into my reflection, because I feel like you're living up to your responsibility as an artist and the things that you're studying and the discussions that we've had, because you realize that being that you have a black daughter, and the fact that you call her a black daughter, because I have a lot of friends that are mixed and their mothers and fathers call them mixed, knowing that if they come out my complexion or a little lighter, they're black. And the fact that you know that, and the fact that you're doing the work and putting that into your artistry, is just so, I have nothing but respect for you. And I feel like it's that type of unapologetic fire to tell the truth is what really spawned something new in me. Your class, as I've told you, I've had this idea to do this Max Lancaster show for at least a good year or two, and I didn't know how to approach it. And these studies, I think you had to do like 8 to 12 studies or something like that. It's like these little sparks, like it's these jump offs that you can like take and put together, and the footage that you would show us of different artists that you felt that were moving you and were relevant at the time really influenced my confidence to be able to really step outside the box, because I'm seeing all this amazing work. And then also you touring and going and doing these projects, like doing the conference at Duke, and performing in Pittsburgh, I think that I've said this many times before, that being a working artist as while you're being an educator, I feel is the best thing to do, because it informs your students of what it takes to be an artist and what that responsibility is, and how that also works into how you educate the community, the people that are coming up after you. So I feel like I connected to your mission because I saw you and I see how open you are, to want to learn and to want to make sure that you're doing things properly. And this is another thing that I don't think I said to you when you're talking about how Sabela would get at you, or say like, Maurice would get at you, let's say, because you've known him longer and you've actually worked with him. Understand that, which I know that you do, but if he didn't respect what you're doing and didn't care about you, he would let you continue to do what you were doing. But the fact that he is correcting you, that's that tough love. And I feel like, as you will, know that I support you moving forward and doing what you're doing in your work, because it is extremely valid. Not just for yourself, but to inform the community of like, yes, this is possible. And yes, someone can genuinely go into the culture and spend time within learning the fundamentals of the culture, and also working with the community, of this up and coming work. The fact that you've been working on the continent of Africa and really interacting with these new ways and these new artists that are really flipping things, and then being, unselfishly being able to share that stuff with us. So with all that being said, it has made a huge impact on me and on my work. And I look forward to working with you. I definitely want to consult with you as I move forward on this Max Lancaster, The Adventures of Max Lancaster piece, because I feel like your input, as well as with Sabela and Ozzy, would be great. And I really appreciate you for actually getting that momentum started, because I've been talking about it for years. And you created a space where I could just play and not feel like I was going to be judged. And, that's a big deal for me, because, prior to coming here, I really was not an openly gay man, within my workplace, or only with certain people. And I feel that us coming here together, Jimmy and myself, being in a gay couple, and me being out was huge. And then being able to surrender to that, to then come into your class and be able to develop this piece of work that I've been talking about for years. Of course I want to stay in touch with you, and of course I want to be able to build that work while building work with you. However, whatever works spark off from us just vibing. And another thing, 10 Tiny Performances, that was the dopest thing ever. I mean, your professor asks you she invites you to perform in a show, and then she is able to give you some money afterwards, and you're able to have your work seen, and you get to experiment. That was an amazing opportunity, and it really set me up for a grad event, because it was something new. I was doing, working with text and doing a lot of minimal movement, just referencing the popping and the Tai Chi quality to the movement. And I was really nervous about it, but you really provided a space for me to play and see if things worked, and it did just that. And I really appreciate you. And looking into moving forward with leather, I'm really interested in that as well. And I just think that we just need to keep this momentum going. And however that needs to happen, we need to make it happen. And stay in touch. you know. So thank you for such an amazing experience. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing time in Burkina Faso. My love to Wendiga and Olivier, and I'll see you June 12th. And let's just continue to make things happen because the revolution has been going on. It's just that it seems that it's starting to bubble and overflow because of the alliance of people that are coming together. The like-minded and the like-spirited are actually aligning and seeing their power and moving forward. And I feel like that's what you did here. You aligned a lot of amazing artists, and now we're creating this community, and it's exciting. And I feel that you should really pat yourself on the back because you're doing exactly what you set out to do. And you were supposed to just do it in a year. And now you're going somewhere else to bless them. But we're going to stay in touch. All right. Much love to you. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Esther.